Peterson from the Robo Raiders, Team 7129, and I'm here with Dr. Denny Davis, a retired engineering professor with 25 years of teaching engineering at a university level. So, why should teams care about the engineering design process?
Well, the engineering design process is really a signature of the engineer. It's what they do, and so we need to understand the process in order to be competent in doing design.
Now we know why. What exactly is it?
Well, obviously the engineering design process is a process used to go from some need that's identified or an opportunity that we see before us to actually creating a product or process that's going to meet that need or that opportunity. So it's a series of steps. It gets us started, it leads us through the process until we actually deliver that final product.
Alright, so how do you begin using the design process? You can tell what it is, but how do you actually get in there?
It's really important that you start well, so I'm glad you asked that question. To start well, you really need to understand what the problem is or what the opportunity is. I've sort of sketched the major phases of design here before us. We start with what we would call problem definition. We need to understand what the problem is, not just in general, but specifically, what must the solution do to be a success?
Okay. As you begin the design process, how do you make sure that you include all the different personalities on your team?
Well, that's a great question because, as you know, design and what we're involved in is designing with a team of members. So in order to engage them, they each need to feel that there's something that they can contribute. Well, voila. Here we have a process that requires a wide range of skills, from the creative, thinking outside the box, having fun, coming up with new ideas, to being very critical, analytical, judging whether something's going to work or not, and then in between, bringing those together and making good decisions, integrating them so that we get a good solution. So you see, we need to draw from a wide range of personal attributes and interests to do design well.
Alright, so now you've got all the different ideas coming in from a wide range of personalities. How do you actually choose a good idea from that huge list?
That's always a challenge because you may have some people who are much more forceful and their ideas they want to push forward. So you begin in this design, the problem definition, to define the needs which end up being a set of criteria that need to be satisfied in a good solution. So if you have a good definition of what's required, then you can compare all the ideas and see how well each of those fits those requirements. And that drives you toward a solution. It also helps to develop consensus so that these people with different perspectives can agree upon this best path forward because they now understand why.
So now that you have all these ideas that you've been working on, when is it okay to switch to a different idea? Is there enough time? Can you switch?
That's always a tough decision. Let's just take a quick look at the process overall and maybe you'll get a feel for when we can change our ideas. Notice we start with the problem definition. Then we go through all the ideas and selecting the best ideas. Then we go into the prototyping stage where we're building and finding out does it actually work as we thought it would. And after we've made these decisions, we go into this final solution refinement. If we're far down this path, it's very difficult to make a major change and drop something from your design and put a major new element into it. If you're earlier in this process, where you have lots of time remaining to make your changes at this stage is really the best time. Coming up with this conceptual design is really key to getting a good solution in the end. So we make sure that we have done our iterating and trying different ideas at this stage as much as possible. Later on, it's less desirable.
All right. Do you have anything else that might be useful?
Well, obviously, we're just scratching the surface on the design process. As you know, we've done a whole series of lessons on the engineering design process, which are video lessons available on the Robo Raiders YouTube site. So I'd encourage you all to take a look at those. There are 10 lessons that spell out details for each of these different phases and the activities involved in those. In addition, if we're dealing with some of the details of gears, levers, motors, other information about components, there's a textbook that goes along with this, the Pre-Engineering Primer, and you can find that as another valuable resource.
All right. Thank you to Dr. Davis, and thank you all for watching.
Thank you for watching this video on the design process with Dr. Denny Davis, a retired engineering professor. This is our 4th video in our Game On series. In next week's video, we'll be giving you some tips while programming. Stay tuned. Bye.